Well, I have two gentlemen joining me to share their thoughts and to discuss South Africa elections. First, let me introduce Global Affairs Analyst Sam Phatey. Good to have you on the news. And Lekan Sote is a political analyst. Good to have both of you gentlemen right here. So many issues guiding this election, from corruption, unemployment at 27%, the issue of expropriation of land, which the EFF, Malema's party, the leftist party, is promising. So many issues. But what do you think really are the key issues that will determine the outcome of this election at the end of the day? Because now it seems the ANC is still, well, it has the lead.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, the party is over 100 years old. One, it has structures. It is not a new party. As a matter of fact, it used to be the party for almost 4 or 5 Central African countries. You know, Botswana, ANC was there, and several other Southern African countries. It wasn't just a South Africa party. You know, so it has traditions, it has structures, it's and the issues of apartheid. Don't forget, ANC won the apartheid, shall we say, trophy for South Africans. So that sentiment is still available. But I don't know if I'm sure you've read Animal Farm.
Oh, yes.
George Orwell.
George Orwell's
There is a character there called Moses the Tave Raven, who was said to be talking about Sugar Candy Mountain, what it will look like by the time they got rid of man from Animal Farm, from Manor Farm, and then they turned into Manor Farm. So the rhetorics of ANC was a sugar candy mountain.
So in other words, it has become a pie in the sky.
Exactly.
More or less. Let me bring in Sam Phatey very quickly, because not much time. Now, Cyril Ramaphosa, he's promising to fight corruption. He has actually owned up that corruption has not allowed his party to deliver on good governance for South Africans. Now, it looks like, based on the results we're seeing so far, that South Africans are willing to give him another chance. But going forward, if he does get it, how easy will it be for him to actually deliver this time around?
Well, it is not going to be that easy for him to deliver, because aside from corruption, for example, corruption, there is going to be a lot of internal fight. However, Ramaphosa himself is facing a lot of opposition from some of the hardline, hardcore members of parliament that they are going to have from his own party. That may even be a challenge to him. However, I think the ANC in general, despite winning this election, must recognize the fact that this has been their lowest percentage when it comes to winning. And it has been steadily declining. In 2014 and 2016, how the Democratic Alliance was able to win additional seats and even win some of the most critical municipalities in South Africa, including Johannesburg. So this is simply telling them they either need to strap up their boots. Already, Julius Malema is taking, and the EFF party is taking members there, is snatching members from the ANC party. You can see that Julius Malema's vote increased from 6% to about 9% as far as the counts are concerned this year. And you can see steadily ANC's votes lowered from 62% now to 57%. Quite a tally and an interesting look at the numbers there. So it means they either need to strap up and do what they need to do, or within the next 2 electoral cycles, they can see themselves ousted. Because South Africans are no longer looking at the apartheid era. They are looking at their economic interest and having better wages and a decent life.
Now, Lekan, the ground that DA and EFF is the two parties are gaining don't seem to be really shaking the ANC that much. Now, you have a 20% of youth voters making up, part of the electorate, but the turnout among the youth is still very low. Yeah,
you see, the rhetorics, or should I say the narrative, is going to be a gradual shift. Discussions is no longer going to be about against apartheid anymore. It's going to be about who is going to run this economy better for us. And don't forget something, that Ramaphosa himself is one of the richest men in South Africa. And he even has interests in, shall we say, white-backed businesses. he has investments in companies that are owned or run by white people. So that begins to give him, shall we say, he's on both sides of the coin, and that his credibility begins to have some problems. But like I said, the future is going to be, there's going to be a gradual shift. But I can assure you, ANC will win this election.
Yeah, well, from all indications, that seems to be...
I never thought for one day that ANC, but I knew that it's going to be a gradual shift, especially when the narrative begins to change to who can run this economy better for all of us. It is no longer the issues about EFF,
yes, talking
about ANC has not gone too far or fast enough with the rhetorics of anti-apartheid.
Now, let me bring in Sam Phatey. Unfortunately, not too much time. Sam, there's this issue now of Russia interference, news that came not too long ago. How troubling really is this? Because now they're saying that Russian interference really is to give the ANC the upper hand. And we're seeing that already.
Well, you know, the Russian interference or not, I think it is clear that the ANC was going to win this. Like I said, it may take another election cycle or two for the ANC to lose if they don't strap their boots. I mean, Russian interference is one thing to say, but how much influence would Russia have directly when it comes to elections in South Africa? I think at the end of the day, what would determine South Africa's vote anytime, anywhere is its youth. The turnout within its youth population is very, very low, and this has been one of the lowest turnouts in South Africa. Survey after survey have shown that a lot of young people are completely frustrated with the government and how the economic situation is being run. And they decided that they're not going to vote, not realizing the fact that keeping their votes to themselves and instead of going to the polls is what is going to determine which kind of leaders would either pursue their interest or not. So Russia here is a non-starter, fine, but every country is interfering in every nation's elections, especially when I said every country, I'm talking about some of the most powerful countries in the world, like the United States, Russia, and China, because they are all going after their own national interests. They have stakes in these countries. So depending on who the president is, depending on who they would like to see, I mean, what they will try to help those people win by any means necessary. So I think just pointing at Russia is one thing, but again, it's up to South African youth.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Of course, Ramaphosa has promised to clean up his own party. Let's see how he does that. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Sam Phatey, Global Affairs Analyst, and Lekan Sote, Political Analyst. Thank you very much for joining me.